pretty passionate about, and that's bringing life-giving water to people who have never had clean water. I'm not talking about the growing problem that we are facing on Earth with developed communities, developed cities and countries where there is a huge water crisis. They're misusing it, and there's only a certain amount of water on planet Earth. I'm mostly speaking of the undeveloped or underdeveloped places on Earth where these people try to survive on whatever they can get access to, and most of the time it's tainted puddles of muddy, filthy, virus-filled water where animals defecate in, and they're in competition for that water to survive as a human. And so we have sort of developed a passion for this. In 2015, we installed our first well. A little dinky Bernie-based company here was actually able to install our first well in Burkina Faso, Africa, which is the third most impoverished country on the planet. And this village of about 800 people now can go to that site and line up every morning. We're told 600 to 800 people line up every day, and they get clean water from the well. And so that's the first one of us. We're not the only group, obviously, doing this, but I encourage anyone who would like to make a difference in the lives of people you may never meet. Before this well, we had little girls, it's mostly women and girls, that have to go retrieve the whatever water they can. And if you ask Kyle, water's pretty heavy.
It is.
It's heavy. And so these little girls aren't that strong, and they have to carry and drag buckets of water. And sadly, bad things happen. I won't say what, but you can imagine bad things happen to them as they're making their miles of trip, trying to get back to their village so they can contribute, because that's their job. And because they're absent, they don't get to attend school, they don't get to attend things that other kids get to do to grow. And when you give them the blessing of water right there in their village, they now can reassign their time to growing and learning and becoming what God made them to really be. And so I say that's a secondary motive, get them water, but the primary motive, many of these groups are what's called unreached groups. And when I talk about unreached groups, there's a project called the Joshua Project, which categorizes groups of humans on Earth. And it turns out there's about 17,000 plus groups on Earth. These groups are divided by language, by ethnicity, by physical borders. About 17,000 of these groups. 7,000 of these groups make up unreached people. It's about 41% of the human population. 3.2 billion people are unreached. And what that means is 3.2 billion people have zero idea who Jesus Christ is. And so if I could do anything on earth, I would carry out the last commandment that Jesus gave before he closed out his time. As it's documented in Scripture, it was something called the Great Commission. He said, go and make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And what that meant was teach them the good news that he represented. So if we can do that and make these unreached people reached, and so we teach them the beauty of the Word that God has shown us through his Son, then they too can enjoy the pure life that he wants for them as well, and they can understand it. So if I could do that, there would be nothing left to do.